Hello, my name is Andre Roziar, and this is Havoc Boxing. Welcome to Havoc Boxing. Today we have a very special guest. The Miracle Man is here with us, Daniel Jacobs. Welcome, Daniel.
Thanks for having me.
First and foremost, as I always do start, what led you in the direction of boxing and where did you get started?
Wow, that's always interesting when people ask me that. I started boxing at the age of 14, and the reason why I started boxing because I almost became a victim of being bullied. And I say almost because I fought back, right?
Very good.
Now, I was in school, and we got in trouble for fighting, obviously, the principal, and got home, and my mom and my parents made sure that I was disciplined. So I found out that the same kid that I was fighting was going down to the local boxing gym, and this was my opportunity to get my revenge and not get in trouble. Little did I know, once I got down there, it was like love at first sight, and I never left the sport ever since.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
Now, through your amateur career, you were a very accomplished athlete. You won numerous national titles.
Thank you.
You're a multi-Golden Glove champion. The accolades came constantly. From that point on, when did you figure you would be a professional fighter?
Well, I was kind of battling football and boxing when I was in high school, and it wasn't until I really dedicated myself to boxing when I realized that I wanted to make it a career, because it was really nothing else for me to do at that time. You know, I didn't know what I wanted to go to college for. I didn't know what I wanted to pursue as far as having a career. So this boxing thing, I knew that I didn't have to go to school for it. I knew that, you know, if I apply myself, I can be successful at a very young age. Right. And that's what I did. And I started pursuing and winning numerous amateur tournaments, like we said, and then going pro in 2007 and making a name for myself from that point on.
And your first professional fight, tell us a little bit about that.
Wow, my first professional fight. Needless to say, I was a little nervous because the expectation of not fighting with a headgear and the smaller gloves and the crowd and the TV. I mean, I fought on the Mayweather Hatton card, so, you know, to have a first professional fight under that card, you know, it's tremendous. And it was a great experience. I knocked my guy out and my opponent out in 29 seconds, I believe. Well, you know best, you would work in my corner. But
for those who don't know, as I always tell you, a lot of these young men that we do have on the show, fortunately for me, are part of my family circuit of boxing, and I'm also Danny's trainer.
Yeah.
But we're not speaking in the third sense today. Okay, go ahead, Danny.
But, you know, it was a great experience to have a knockout on that platform. You know, just gave me a little insight of what my future could become if I applied hard work and dedication and stick to it. And, you know, little down the line, little did I know later on, I would become that guy. You know, I would become fighting for a championship, and I would become being the main event. And, you know, it was just exciting for me. I love it.
Now, when you were voted Prospect of the Year,
yeah,
I mean, how did you feel?
I felt great. I felt like all the hard work was paying off. You know, it was an upset for me not to make the Olympic team. So it was a bitter taste in my mouth that I had going into the pros, and I always felt like I had to prove myself. So that was just like a pat on the back for me, like, you know what, Danny, you're going in the right direction, you're doing a great job, and continue the good work.
Oh, very good. Now, Danny, as your professional career progressed, the opposition became tougher and tougher.
Right.
After you were voted Prospect of the Year, what was your toughest bout to that point?
My toughest bout. It's kind of hard to say, man. Everybody brung something different to the table. I would say, my toughest bout would probably be the one that I lost because, I was battling not only my opponent, but all these emotions and, thousands of people watching on TV and, thousands of people in the audience. I was battling all that, and there was a whole bunch of pressure. So the Dmitry Pirog fight for me would probably be the hardest bout I've ever faced. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the Dmitry Pirog fight.
Right.
Going into that particular bout, you had a lot of personal complications going on. Let's elaborate a bit upon them.
Well, you know what they say? They say boxing is mostly mental.
Right.
It's only about 20% physical, even though it is a physical sport. And, we had worked so hard to get to this point to fight for a world championship. And the person who I adored, who I loved, who was like my mother, my grandmother, she passed away a week before my fight. And for me to be in the hospital and see her pass away, it just shut everything down, and as a young man at that time, I wasn't able to bear, I didn't grieve like a normal human being supposed to grieve the loss of someone like a grandmother or a mom.
Right.
And I went into a fight trying to fight in her honor, but it didn't work in my favor because mentally I just didn't want to be there. I wanted to be home with my family. And needless to say, that was the first loss that I ever had in my career. And it would probably be the only loss that I ever have in my professional career.
I was just about to tell you.
Yeah.
Okay, and at that point in time, because we had to share this loss,
Right.
the team had to share the loss,
Right.
you didn't go into what I would call one of those funks.
Yeah.
You started to reaffirm yourself, and we moved on. And then we ran into another obstacle.
Mm-hmm.
You said that you had some pains in your back. That's how it started.
Yeah, I remember going down to Saddam's boxing gym and seeing you there. And I remember feeling just this awkward feeling in my back. I mean, I know I've always had back problems. We know that. And,
Right.
I've always had pain, but this was different, And I remember slowly but surely my left leg starting to give out. And as a boxer, you know that when you don't train, your legs, sometimes become weak and,
Right.
you don't know how to differentiate the two. So as the pain and the problem started to progress, I started to become majorly concerned.
Right.
And needless to say, about 2-3 weeks later, I was almost completely paralyzed with a large tumor growing wrapped around my spine, suffocating me. 2 days about to die. If I didn't get to the doctor in time, I wouldn't be here today to talk to you.
What form of cancer did you have?
I had a rare cancer. It's called osteosarcoma, and it's a cancer of the bone. Typically, kids get it, and actually dogs get it a lot too, but it was very rare for an athlete such as myself, who's in the prime of his career, 24 years old. I mean, I'm young, fresh. I'm in my
strong, and
health is in completely good tact.
Right.
So for me to catch cancer at that time, it was a major setback, and it was also it was mentally hard to grasp going through that because my career was in jeopardy. We didn't know if I was going to be able to box. The doctors told me that, my career was over, to start looking for something else to do. I started thinking of my child, how I was going to be able to take care of him. And, you just start thinking, and, that was probably one of the hardest times in my life.
I can remember when we came to visit you at the hospital. I had the only expectation I had in my mind, because I'm always a positive thinker, was that it's going to be all right. But when I saw you in the wheelchair, I mean, that is one of the moments in my life when I sank to a low, because I was like, look at my Danny in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And when we came there, your spirit was so high. You was like, oh, hey, fellas. And you were rolling around in the chair, racing all over the place. And I said, well, you know what? If he can feel that way, I have to be as I always am and be strong and positive for him.
Yeah.
Now, when you started the road to recovery,
Mm-hmm.
I can remember another time when you did come into the gym and you had your back brace on, and
Yeah.
you were like, I said to you, Danny, what are you doing here? And you said, I'm going to work out. And I'm looking at you, and you're in the
And mind you,
mirror,
this is 2 weeks right after I'm out the hospital.
which I thought was amazing in itself.
Yeah.
But you were in the mirror, and you really couldn't move much because you were just recuperating,
Yeah.
and you were just throwing punches. And I said, you know what? He's going to be all right.
Yeah.
He's going to be all right.
Well,
We're going to get back on track.
I've always had a great relationship with God, and
Right.
you know, I asked God to make me humble, make me meek, and this was my opportunity to show Him that I can, no matter what my circumstances is, I can be humble and appreciative of my life. I have my son. At the time, he was 2.
Right.
You know, I had my family, and that's all I needed. So I was happy, and there was nothing else in my life that mattered most was then God and my family. So I was good, you know, even though my career still wasn't where it was supposed to be, and I didn't know if I was going to get back to where I wanted to be. I was in the gym.
Right.
You know, I was happy because that was my home, you know, being around you guys, seeing my family, seeing them fight and supporting them. I was still in the boxing world, so
Right.
I was happy. And slowly but surely, I started to get better, and then, you know, we started sparring,
Right.
and we started to walk a
More
little better.
funny times.
You know, we started doing a whole bunch of, you know, different activities, and it just felt good to be around positive people, and it felt good to be around my family. I was happy.
At that point in time, we were expecting you to get back, but we always had an uncertainty
Right.
about you actually getting back.
Right.
In hindsight, if you didn't or weren't able to return the form,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think you would have done?
Wow. I mean, I'm a very smart guy, you know, and this is America. You have to say this is an opportunity. This is a land of opportunity. There's so many things that I could do. You know, I'm very talented in so many different columns and levels of life that I know I would have been fine, you know, and I have a son. So there's no pouting and reflecting on what could have been.
Right.
So now it's a mandatory that I create something for this child, for my family. You know, so I had no worries about what I was going to do. I knew God was going to, even though I had no idea what it was going to be,
Right.
I knew God was going to lead me in a direction that was going to help me take care of my family.
Okay. Now we're going to flash forward back to where we're at right now.
Right.
We are 3 fights into your second
Uh-oh.
career. The Golden Child has morphed into the Miracle Man.
There we go.
And an aptly named moniker now, Miracle Man, because you have first and foremost received a miracle from God of still actually being here,
Absolutely.
being healthy,
Yeah.
and being able to participate in this sport that you do love.
Mm-hmm.
We are on the cusp of world title contention.
Mm-hmm.
We are boxing against Giovanni Lorenzo on August 19th.
Mm-hmm.
A stern test, but a test nonetheless I
Right.
expect you to pass.
Right.
What do you see after the Giovanni Lorenzo fight?
Well, of course, we don't overlook anyone, like
Never.
you said.
Never.
But given the fact that we do get past Giovanni, we are going to be at that cusp because we're fighting for the WBC Continental Belt.
Right.
So that's going to rank us amongst the top. And with the great management that we have in Al Heyman and the great promotion that we have at Golden Boy, we're going to have options. You know, we're going to have the opportunity to fight the Sergio Martinez, the Gennady Golovkins, the Felix Sturms, and whoever's out there, you know, the Kids Chocolates. We're going to have those opportunity to fight those guys. So it doesn't matter for me who we fight. It just has to make sense. At the end of the day, it is still a business. We still want to make sure we put ourselves in the right position to be set. And we're going to take on whoever. I have the skills to pay the bills, as they say. So it doesn't matter.
Very important in this world.
Right. So it doesn't matter who we're going to get in there with, but you do want to make sure you structure yourself accordingly so that it flows nice. You know, and this career that this second time around, it's been flowing very well for us. We've been doing very good. We've been stepping up each fight accordingly. And this next fight for me is for me. I'm excited because it's the biggest fight for me thus far.
Right.
And it gives the fans to see, okay, he's been stepping up. We want him to fight somebody, but now this is a good test.
Right.
You know, and then we get past him, and now it's the big test. So, I mean, I'm just excited. At this particular point in my life and in my career right now, it's just exciting because you don't know what to expect. And that's the exciting part of life for me because not knowing what you're going to expect, whether it could be good or bad, is just like a toss-up. But you do want to make sure that you train hard so you can put yourself in the position to be on the winning side.
Right. You want to be ready for every moment that might come your way.
Right.
Now, we're going to let the world have a little insight into what we do. If an opportunity arose at 54, would you feel that you were able and ready to take it?
Absolutely. I mean, you got to understand, this is a business, and there's a lot of financial gain in the junior middleweight division.
Right.
And if it makes sense, because I'm not a natural 154 pounder, I'm a natural 160 pounder, but we can do it with the right nutrition, with the right training. I'm sure we can get down to 154 and still be strong. So, but it's about taking the risk and getting down. Is it worth it? Going through all the drama in camp, going through all the pain in camp to get to that point. I'm not going to do it to fight someone like a Gabriel Rosado. No disrespect to Gabriel, but to me, it's just like, it's not big enough. It has to be for a championship belt, and it has to be someone that is going to be worth it and the fans are going to appreciate.
So basically, the struggle has to really be appreciated for the games.
Right. It has to weigh itself out.
Right. Very good. Okay, now, Danny, we're going to talk a little bit about you as a father.
Okay. I love that topic.
I can remember when you told me initially that I'm going to be a father.
Yeah.
And the look on your face. I was like, this young man doesn't understand what fatherhood is all about.
Yeah.
But you were very happy about that. Tell us a little bit about your son.
Ah, man, my son, his name is Nathaniel Christopher Jacobs. It is the most precious little boy you can ever meet. Looks just like me, cute face, the ears, love boxing. I mean, this kid is a blessing from God. And I thank God every day because he put him to my life and he humbled me. He changed me into a better man, a father, a better friend, better person. And it is amazing. I can't continue to talk about the joy that I have each day when I wake up and I see my child. When I'm in that ring and I'm thinking of him or I'm training and he's in the back of my mind, he motivates me, he pushed me, because the lifestyle that I had growing up, not even a lifestyle, just the things I had to endure and see growing up. I don't even want him to even know that exists. I want him to grow up in Pleasantville. You know what I mean? So those things matters to me. The fatherhood, that means the world to me. That is everything to me. I put God first, and being a father to me is the second thing that I cherish in my life. But you might see him in the gym in a couple years because he loves boxing. That's all he loves to do.
He does.
Is box. And it makes you proud, as a dad, to do something and your son appreciates and respects and loves. Because there's a lot of parents out here nowadays that, they have 9-to-5s and, maybe their kid wouldn't want to do the same thing that they do. So for me to have something and for my son to look up to me, like, wow, Dad, he doesn't know anything about me being famous or, he doesn't know. So I'm still his superhero and it's still innocent. So it's genuine. And, it's just amazing. It's amazing a feeling, an amazing accomplishment for me to be at this point in my life, to be able to say, not only am I succeeding in my career, but I've had the most success as a parent and as a dad. And that's, for me, is the best.
Now, you received an award. Let's talk a little bit about that, because that was a very, very proud moment for me when he received this award. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, there's a big boxing, it's called the BWAA, the Boxing Writers Association Awards, and national, right? It's every year. It's an annual event that they have where they give Fighters of the Year, they give Best Comeback Fighter, they give all different types of award to the whole boxing world, the community. And I received the Best Comeback Fighter of the Year. And that was very, very big because, we had some pretty stern competition in that bracket,
Yes,
you know,
we
with
did.
some comebacks. So,
Yes, we did.
but to battle cancer and to be paralyzed, you know, not being able to walk. I mean, I couldn't lift my leg. It was an honor for me to come back and stand in front of all those people to say, you know what, I did it. You know, I patted myself on the back because I gave up in the hospital. You know, on the bed when I was laying there. It's been times where I gave up. You know, I said I can't do it no more. You know, so for me to push myself and battle these demons inside of me, you know, when I stood up on that platform and I received that award, that was the award saying, you know what, Danny, no matter what, if you never give up, anything is possible. Anything.
Now, there's another award that we're looking to receive from.
That you're looking for. That you're looking for.
No, I actually, I was speaking to one of the directors of the BWA, and
Right.
he was telling me how proud he was of you.
Yeah.
And what he thought you could possibly do. And he ventured in to mention, well, if Danny keeps on the track that he's currently on, he'll be receiving the award for Fight of the Year. And then he went so far as to say, and hey, you might be the champion. So
Right.
we have another goal to succeed at.
This guy.
That's a little
That's good.
selfish game there, but we have one to do. But
Right.
without them, I can never receive it, so I'm looking forward to that. But, okay, Danny, now, with the many titles that are floating around in the
Right.
water,
Right.
and now the mythical pound-for-pound rankings, what would you, in your estimation, consider to be the title that you're looking for?
The title that I'm looking for will probably always be the WBC. As a child growing up, that was the distinctive, like, you know, you knew who the champion was by the green belt.
The WBC is the belt that you recognize as the belt.
Yes.
Okay, the champion at the 160-pound WBC category is Sergio Martinez.
Sergio, yeah.
With all the many ailments and complications and pains and broken bones and this and the other thing, it seems that Sergio's slowly but surely being pulled out of the equation.
Yep.
Which opens the door for a slew of other athletes to take advantage of that
Right.
moment. Who do you think at this point in time? Because in my estimation, and I'm going to tangent for a moment, Julio Chavez Jr. is no longer going to be a middleweight. He's going up to super middleweight.
Oh, is he?
He's fighting at 165
Uh-huh.
in his next fight, and then he's moving on.
He's a big boy, man.
Yes, he is. I
Yeah.
don't see him at 160 anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know how he does it.
Right.
I'm not going to say anything more than that.
We know how he does it.
But
Right.
at that point in time, the opportunities seemed to be infinitesimal.
Right.
I would assume that somewhere around early 2014, this will be what will be on the landscape.
Yep.
This opportunity
Yep.
for middleweights to take advantage of this moment.
Uh-huh.
I know that we will be in a great position. We just have to bide the time
Right.
and be ready for it.
Right.
Who do you think might be at the top of that mountain that we might have to see?
You never know, man. You know, there's guys that come from left field that just come out of the blue. I mean, this Golovkin guy just came out of the blue and he's taking over. So there might be someone who comes from left field. You know, a year from now, we can never tell who's going to be on top. So, you know, you never want to say, I'm going for that guy, because that guy could be going tomorrow.
So it might be someone from Argentina.
Exactly.
Argentinians go strong and hard.
Right. You know, so you never know who it might be. So that's why I don't get into the calling out people. It's never really been my thing. You know, I don't go for the top guys. I want to fight whoever the fans want. Whoever the fans think will be a great matchup with me and against, and if it makes sense, let's do it. Because this is a crowd-pleasing sport.
Right.
And it is a business.
Exactly.
Right.
On both accords.
Right.
So at that point in time, when it is WBC time,
Right.
time to rise up and flash it. In your estimation, who would you like to have as an opponent if you had a title fight?
If I had a title fight,
Not calling anyone out,
Right.
but just to say, because I'd like to test my skills against this athlete.
well, I like to test myself against the best. Like I'm not doing this just for the sake of doing it. I want to have a legacy. I want to have something that kids can say, you know, I want to be this guy because he fought the best and he was the best. So whoever is the best, whether it's the Sergios, the Golovkins, the Macklins, the Quillins, whoever you have, it doesn't matter for me. But who I see myself battling for the top spot, I want to fight Sergio. I would love to fight Sergio.
And with that said, we'll be right back.
WBC Continental middleweight title.
Del otro lado.
Que te mire para el frente.
Giovanni Lorenzo on the scale.
Aquí Giovanni.
No, estate quieto, papi.
1586.
1586. 158.6.
Danny Jacobs.
Pueden poner abajo uno así.
1592.
That's how you make weight. That's how you make weight.
That's how you make weight, baby. Ponte más que los pantalones, te pongo la camisa, papi. Hablamos ahorita. Hablamos ahorita. Dale.
My sneakers.
All right.
Put my shirt up there.
All right, let's go. Let's get this work, boy. That's how we do it. That's how we get this work, boy.
Over here, guys.
Danny, we'd like to thank you for coming on the show and giving us some insight.
Always a
to
pleasure.
Daniel Jacobs,
Always.
the Miracle Man. And when are you fighting again?
I'm fighting August 19th at the Best Buy Theater in Times Square. Tickets start at $35. You can't beat it. Got to get there.
$35. You've got to be there. Welcome once again, and we will see you next time on the Havoc Boxing Show. And we are in the hurt business.
And he knows he's cut, so he's trying to right now take advantage of the opportunity to try to get punches. He's got to be careful. He's got to be careful. Though, Lorenzo. Lorenzo is down. And he may not get there. He will not. So the dice was rolled. They both threw the dice. And Danny Jacobs comes out with all the money. A huge hook as he opens up.